Good evening, everyone. Today we have our lecture in English, as it happens every first Friday of the month. And probably as you know, this week we had a hurricane, Isaias, passing through the northeast of the United States, and it left behind a trace of a little chaos, not disastrous like we used to see in the news, but it left like thousands of people without power or internet connections. So that's why we don't have Marcio here today. He's okay, he's safe, his family is safe, and but just he doesn't have power or internet connection. So we are hosting here today. And first, I want to thank you for being here with us, and hopefully we'll be back to the normal very soon. And to start, we're gonna invite everyone to raise our thoughts to God to ask protection, help, and assistance for our meeting, for our lecture. Please, God, may we have the blessing of this message to fulfill our hearts, our emotions, our needs. May Jesus bless our time together and bring for all of us, wherever we are watching this from, light, peace, and patience as we going through all these hard times lately. May God, we all being connected together under your light and your love. And also we ask for a special blessing to our speaker so the message can be delivered in its most meaningful uh, purpose. So this tonight we have a special guest here, which is Beatriz Lopes, or Bia, as we know her. Bia has grown up in Spiritism at the Allan Kardec Spiritist Center in Connecticut in 2016. She had the opportunity to speak about Spiritism at the United Nations. Bia hosts Kardec Radio for Teens, radio show to talk about Spiritism and how it can relate to the lives of teens. So we soon is gonna be invited to start the lecture, and to introduce her, we're gonna have a very quick and short message from Joanna de Angelis from the book Happy Life, which is greet your day with prayer of gratitude. You are alive. While there is life, opportunities for growth and happiness abound. Each day is a new blessing from God, proof of His love from you, for you. As you pass the hours, cultivate optimism and well-being. So now we're gonna say hello to Bia. Hello, Bia.
Hi, hi everyone. Thank you all for being here today. Let me get my screen shared so we can start off today.
All right. So we're gonna leave you with Bia, okay?
So, hi everyone. Thank you all for being here today. This is my first virtual lecture about Spiritism. And I also lost power and it just came back yesterday. So if at any point my internet does go out, please just bear with me or let us know in the comments. I might not know that my internet's not working, but it should be working now. So we shouldn't have any issues. And thank you all for being here and watching despite the situation that we already had ongoing with COVID-19 and us all being remote, but also now, like we mentioned, the recent hurricane that passed, and a lot of people are without power. So, thank you if you do have power and are tuning in today. So, today I'm going to be talking about the pursuit of happiness. And the first thing we want to start off with is, what is happiness? Where do we find it? Because if we aren't, um, if we don't know where we're looking for happiness, or we're looking in the wrong places, then we're not going to find happiness. So here, this message says, the causes of happiness are not found in specific places in space. They are in us, the mysterious depths of the soul. So this is really important concept to start us off with, because a lot of times we're looking for happiness everywhere else except for within ourselves. We're looking for happiness with other people. We're looking for happiness in our friends, in our families, in maybe money and materialistic things. We're looking for happiness in things that we own. But real happiness is within us. So we have to start looking inwards to find that true happiness. So that's a really important place to start off and get our mindset thinking about happiness in that aspect. Happiness, it is in the intimate life, in the unfolding of our potentials, of our faculties, and of our virtues. That is the source of future happiness. So again, it is within us. It is with what we are doing in ourselves, right? Like it says here, unfolding our virtues and doing those good things, following this good path, and doing things for self improvement within ourselves. So it's not about what someone else is doing, or the other person that we're talking to, or the materialistic things we have. It's things that are in our control and they're within us. So we have to know ourselves, because we can try and pretend to everyone else, but God knows us and we know ourselves. So we truly have to dive deep into ourselves to find that happiness and to work on these things that will lead to this future happiness. And here, another important thing to note is that it says future happiness. So we're not going to get that happiness right away. And as we'll see in some coming slides, happiness isn't something that, perfect happiness isn't something that we might experience here on earth. But it will come, right? In that future happiness. We have to work hard now and dive deep within ourselves now so that we get to that future happiness. So, here in the Spirit's book, they said, can human beings enjoy perfect happiness on earth? And sadly, the Spirits answered no, because corporeal life has been appointed to them either as a trial or as an atonement. People must reduce their misfortunes themselves and make their lives as happy as possible while on earth. So, on earth is a world of trials and atonements. So trials are things that we have to go through, tests that we are given, and we have to overcome them. And a lot of times, most of the times, we don't overcome them. So we have to try again, right? You fail that test, you have to keep trying, try again. So it's these trials that we're given, these difficult times, these difficult tests that we have to overcome, and also atonements. When we make those mistakes, coming back to fix those mistakes and make those things right and learn from those mistakes. So, since it is a world of trials and atonements, we're constantly learning, we're constantly making mistakes, we're constantly failing these tests, and that's okay, but that's part of our learning progress. But within that, this perfect happiness isn't going to exist on earth. So, but what we can do is to reduce that unhappiness, right? And get as much happiness as we can, be relatively happy on earth. So, again, if we're diving deep within ourselves, working on our virtues, working on the internal things, that can get us that relative happiness on earth. So, even when we are going through those difficult times, we'll still be able to get through it and still be able to be happy even when life throws difficult times our way. And I think that's really applicable to everything that we're living right now, because we're having a lot of things thrown our way right now. Then in question 922 in the Spirit's book, they ask, is there a common standard for happiness for everyone? And the Spirits answered, with regards to material life, it is the possession of what is necessary for survival. With regards to moral life, It is the possession of a good conscience and the belief in a future life. So, for materialistically, it's the possession of what is necessary. So, it's not the extra stuff that we want. It's not the latest technology or the nicest clothes. It's not that material stuff. It's what's necessary, right? In our society, we need clothes to go out in public, but it doesn't mean we need to have those fancy name brand clothes, right? That's not a necessity. And it's okay if we have that, but that's not going to be necessary for our happiness. And we also have to understand that some people might have different necessities based on their lives, right? We're all our own individuals. We all have different things going on. Even though some things might have some similarities, we might have different necessities. But again, we have to focus on what is a true necessity in our lives versus what is something that we might not really need. And again, it's okay to have those things that are not necessary, that are wants. It's okay to have those things, but we have to prioritize and we have to realize that that is not the most important thing. That is not what is bringing us happiness. And again, right, those material things aren't bringing us happiness. Having what is necessary to survive, that can bring us happiness, but not those physical material items, because as we know, those aren't going to last us very long. And as it says here, in terms of moral life, it's the possession of a good conscience and the belief in a future life. So, the good conscience, like we're saying, doing good things, having that those good virtues, working on them, working on your spreading love and charity, doing those things will set us up with a good conscience that will lead us towards happiness, and also the belief in a future life, because we know that we're going through tough times right now, and even if and we know, right, we're not going to achieve that perfect happiness here on earth. So even if we don't achieve that right away, we know that in a future life this is going to count. What the effort that we're putting in now, it's going to carry on. So that is what is important to keep in mind, because if we're not thinking about that future life, you might think it's silly, right? Why am I going to do all this work and it's not going to go to anything? It's not going to go anywhere. But we know with spiritism, we know about the future life and we know that that will carry on with us. So our work is not lost doing all that work right now, even if we don't see the um those reactions to it right away. So in the spirits book, they split up it's the fourth part of the spirits book in chapter 1, and it talks about earthly joys and sorrows. So there's relative happinesses and unhappinesses, and these things are kind of what make us sad or make us happy. And knowing these things that make us sad or happy, we can kind of control them and trying to work towards getting that relative happiness. And again, it's not going to be that perfect happiness. We're going to have sad moments. That's what makes us humans on earth, right? Spirits that are incarnated on earth. It's that we're going to have sad moments, we're going to have difficult times, but getting that relative happiness as much as we can. So, within those categories, the first one that it mentions is wealth. And in this quote from the Spirit's book, it says, "The problems of your world are proportional to the artificial wants you create for yourself. People who can set limits on their desires see what is above them without envy, sparing themselves many disappointments. The richest person is the one with the fewest needs." And I think this is really impactful, especially that last sentence, because, right, we think the richest person, who's the richest person? The one that has the big house, that has a lot of cars, that has a lot of money and all these special things. No, the richest person is the one with the fewest needs, because they are happy with what with just the necessities that they have, and they're not seeking more. How many times have we seen these richest people that we think they're so rich, but in reality they're not happy, or they're always searching for more, they're only thinking materialistically. So That is really important. The richest person is the one with the fewest needs. And you create those limits for yourself. So um, as it says here that you create your limits for yourself. So no one else is going to tell you what you need or what you don't need, but you have to create that for yourself. And if you see someone, oh wow, that person has more cars than I do. That person has that. We don't have to be envious. Maybe that was their goal. Maybe that was something they wanted to do. But what are our goals, right? We focus and create our own goals. And also, if you think about it, when we have fewer needs, it's a lot easier to achieve these goals and to be happy. So if we say, oh, my goal is to have $1 million, it might take us a long time to achieve that goal. And we'll feel frustrated and disappointed because we're not achieving that goal. We're not reaching that thing. Even if we know that it's not all that matters, right? Maybe we want to reach that $1 million to be able to donate to a charity, right? So even if we're trying to do good, we might get disappointed that we're not reaching that high goal. But what if we say, okay, I want to save $20 this week so I can donate it or I can do this? That is a smaller goal that is more achievable. And so when we do that small goal, we'll feel happy because we've accomplished that smaller goal. We had that smaller need. And it's okay to set those long-term goals, those bigger goals, but sometimes those smaller needs, those smaller goals that we have, we can accomplish them more. We can have those necessities, we can get those things, and then we'll be happy with those smaller goals that we receive instead of always being disappointed that we don't have more. Wealth. In Hugo Chavier's book Money, which is translated into English, it says, "It is not money that condemns us to the processes of anguish. It is our way of using it when we forget to facilitate the chain of progress." So it's not money, right? Money is not the problem. Money is this material thing that it's what we do with it. It's how we use it. Where do we put it in the scale of importance? Of course we know money is on earth, it's necessary for survival because you need to have some money to be able to get those necessities, to be able to get food, to have clothes, to have shelter. So you need that certain amount of money, right? So money is not a bad thing, but it's what we do with it, what power we give the money. And that is what causes the problems, right? It's us causing those problems and about the concept of money. It's not money itself that is the problem. It's not wealth itself, right? People can be really rich and they can be doing great things and be happy, right? It's not about how much money we have or we don't have, but what we're doing with that money and how we value that money. So I think that's really important to remember. So again, that money is for what is necessary. And if we have extra, we have extra, but what are we doing with it? How are we valuing that? How are we prioritizing that? So that's an important thing to keep in mind. Times of crisis. We live in times of crisis. For intelligences to open to new truths, for hearts to speak, noisy warnings will be necessary. The harsh lessons of adversity will be needed. We will know dark days and difficult times. Disgrace will bring men together. Only pain truly makes them feel like brothers. And so this book, where this quote is, was written in 1908. Yet, still in 2020, that is more applicable than ever. Times of crisis, that is what we are going through. And now, not even just COVID, but also this recent hurricane that passed through, right? We go through these difficult times and these challenges. But we need to, they say, we need something noisy, something to shake us awake because we're not paying attention to the small signs. So we're going to need these tough moments, these difficulties, to be able to see that, to be able, it's waving its hands and jumping up and down so that we pay attention. If we think about a simple example, COVID, that we're going through, it's a time of crisis and there are so many difficulties that are coming from that. But think about how much more people are being sanitary. People are washing their hands much more. People are learning how to properly wash their hands. People are cleaning everything that they touch before they touch it, before they eat it. And now we have this priority of sanitizing things and washing our hands and washing everything, which is really good for our health in terms of COVID and in terms of other illnesses that might exist as well. And even though they're minor illnesses, that's a big accomplishment. But learning how to wash our hands wasn't enough. So we needed something bigger, right? A noise to shake us awake and say, okay, you have to actually learn how to wash your hands. So that's just a simple example, but these times of crisis, things do come up from it that that we need to learn, and it brings us together. When everything is fine, when before COVID, if we think about 2019, maybe we had the opportunity to go visit a friend, go talk to someone, and we just wanted to stay by ourselves, do our own thing, only focusing on ourselves. But now in COVID, how badly do we wish we could go interact with our friends and go see people? And thankfully, to technology, we can still communicate. And it still brings us together, right? It might not be bringing us together physically, but it's making us appreciate those connections that we had with people. And maybe calling them, writing letters to them, whatever it may be with someone else, we start to value those connections we have for people that we took for granted. And also, same with the hurricane that passed through, not having power. One thing that my family and I were talking about is you don't realize how much you need the power and the Wi-Fi and the electricity, the internet during your day. Anything that you go to use, oh wait, this doesn't have power. Oh wait, this doesn't have power. The toaster doesn't have power. Everything that you think doesn't have power. Electric toothbrushes don't have power. So many things that we don't even realize we take for granted that we have power until it's taken away, until we have something like that to kind of put it into perspective for us. So we will go through times of crisis. It's going to happen. And again, this earth is for trials and atonements. So these things are going to happen, and that's what earth is for. It's for us to be faced with challenges and for us to overcome them. So it's going to happen, but that's what's going to make us stronger. And getting through those moments, we will become happy. And we can be happy, we can find happiness in those moments. So, the next thing that the Spirits book talks about is natural aptitude. Assuming a position outside one's intellectual scope is one of the most frequent causes of failure and disappointment. This message really impacted me in a personal level for what I'm going through right now. So I have just recently graduated from my university, and I thought that, oh, I want to go into this field and I want to do this. So I had an internship this summer that's still going on, and I absolutely love the internship, but I'm realizing that maybe this career path is not for me. And I was thinking a lot, oh, but sometimes society puts that pressure on us of, oh, if I said I'm going to do this, then I have to stick it through or I have to do this. But then I decided, you know what? If I'm not going to be happy in this, it's just going to make it that much harder. And I even ended up talking to a mentor about it. And he said, yeah, if you're not interested in it, when you have to take the exams, the certifications, it's going to be harder because no one wants to study, study, study for an exam. But if you're not even interested in the material, it's going to make it that much harder. And there's going to be those failures and those disappointments, and you're not even going to be interested. You're not going to be happy. And that was before I found this message. And now finding this message, it's like it really stood out to me that, yeah, there's no point in doing that thing just because, oh, I said I would, or society expects me to, or sometimes people pick a job just because it'll make a lot of money or because that's what their parents want or that's what someone told them to do. Where in my case, you said you were going to do that, so you don't want to take back and you don't want to change it up. But that is going to lead to unhappiness, and we have to realize that, right? When you find something that you love, regardless of however money it makes or what anyone else wants you to do, when you find that job that you love, it won't be work. It won't feel like hard work. It won't make you sad. It'll make you happy and you'll feel accomplished doing that work. So that is something really important that I will definitely be keeping in mind. And I think is really important for others because we think that we have to meet these expectations, but in the end, it makes us unhappy. I know some people that'd be like, "Oh, why don't you be a doctor?" But I have no interest. I have the utmost respect for all of the essential workers that are working right now, but I have no interest in doing the medical field myself, and I also um, don't like even looking at blood. So how am I going to be a doctor, right? I'm going to have a lot of failures and disappointments if I go into that field. So just because, right, it might seem like that's the thing to do. If that's not what we want, if that's not where we want to go, then don't do it because that is going to lead to that unhappiness. And we want to be happy. So we don't have to force ourselves. Having overcome the basic difficulties linked to survival and having reached a level of technological advance that generates comfort and ease, humanity has found a new source of suffering: the obligation to be happy. Happy people do not live to seek happiness, they just live life. They like to live, less because of the life they lead, and more because they accept and like themselves. Again, this is also a really important message, especially in today's society with social media. Social media is exactly that. It is society's obligation, right? Showing you the obligation to be happy. That on Instagram, I have to post all the great things that I'm doing, everything that I'm being happy about. But no one is happy 24/7. And for a lot of people, that can cause depression because they see these people that are living these quote unquote perfect lives on social media. And that is not their true lives. They are going through tough times. They go through their own challenges. They go through their sad moments. But social media and society depicts it as you need to be constantly happy. You're obligated to be happy to post this perfect picture of your happiness. But that isn't real life. And luckily, I've seen more awareness about that, more awareness of social media is not real life in those sense. But we need to keep that in mind that it's not an obligation to be happy. It's something that we want to do, right? We want to be happy. I want to be happy. It's not something that, oh, someone's telling me to be happy, society's telling me and forcing me to be happy. No, it's something we want to do and achieve within ourselves. And we don't want to fake it. We want to truly be happy. And I think that end is so awesome that happy people don't live to seek happiness. So they're not searching constantly for their happiness. They're living their lives, right? Again, they're finding that job that they want, which they'll be happy in. They're connecting with the people, the friends that'll make them happy. Um, and they like to lead, and as it says here at the end, because they accept and like themselves, right? I want to be happy because I like myself. I accept myself. I know I deserve to be happy. And the same is true for all of us. We all deserve to be happy, but we need to make that decision for ourselves and say, yeah, I deserve to be happy. What career would make me happy? What job would make me happy? And follow our path that way. And yeah, we're not constantly seeking happiness. As we know, we're going to have tough times, and it's okay if we're not perfectly happy because like we saw on earth, there is no perfect happiness. But just working on living life and taking it moment by moment and working on those relative happinesses that we're talking about. Develop your joy. To, to rejoice is to seek and to fulfill each commitment to existence with good spirits and enthusiasm. Engage in the development of joy, overcoming all struggles and all difficulties that you face. So, developing your joy. So, sometimes you are going to find those tough moments and you're not going to be happy. You're not going to feel like you want to be happy. But in those cases, you can develop your joy. Even though you don't want to, smile. Do something that usually makes you happy. Your favorite song. Listen to that song. So, even if you're going through a really tough time, you might have to make that conscious effort to start developing that happiness, like to start thinking of things that make you happy, doing things that make you happy, and eventually that will start truly coming out. So you might have to pull that joy, right? Develop your joy, pull that out of you a little bit in those tough times. It might be trying to run away, but you can pull that out, you can develop it. So that is really important to keep in mind. And one of these tough times that it is hard to um, accept this, right? And to develop our joy is when we lose loved ones. And this is also in the Spirit's book. It says, "This cause of sorrow, from which neither the rich nor the poor are safe, is either a trial or an atonement. However, you have the consolidation of communicating with them through the means you already possess, while awaiting other means that will be more direct and more open to your senses." So, again, right, we're going to face difficulties, and losing loved ones is one of those difficulties that is really hard for people to be happy in those moments. And it's okay to be sad. We are going to be sad, but we have Spiritism to console us, right? We have our knowledge to console us that this isn't the end, right? If we're truly connected to that person, one, we know we can still um, pray, we can still talk to them, and eventually, when we go to the spirit world, we'll be connected with them again. So this isn't the end. And that's a way that Spiritism can help console us. And we can find the bit of happiness in even those moments, knowing that, okay, right now, temporarily, we have to be separated, but soon again, we'll be connected. So that is something that Spiritism can help us bring to develop that joy in those tough moments. And then here's an example that the Spirits Book brings as well. And they say, take two friends who are prisoners locked in the same prison. Both of them are going to be free eventually. They're going to be free one day, but one has the chance to go before the other. Is it right for that one that's left behind um, to be mad or to be selfish, wanting to have gone with that person or wanting to be the person instead? And if we think about it, that's exactly like losing a loved one. Because here on earth, right, it's not perfect happiness, it's trials and atonements as we talked about, and it is like this prison, right? Like we're put here to learn and we can't get out until it's our time to get out. Until we're at that point that we can that we're free. But just the same way, we're going to have different timings. So some people are going to have to go. But is it right for us to be like, why did they get to go and not me? Or selfishly, why did they have to go? I wanted them to stay here with me. No, if we're in, if the two prisoners are friends and they're together, they want each other to succeed. So they want that other person to go on and go on to better things. They don't want to hold that person back just to be selfish. And that's the same thing with holding on to loved ones. And it is so hard because we want to hold on to those loved ones. We want to stay with them. We don't want to let them go. But again, we have to turn to Spiritism and know that this isn't the end, and it's just for now, and we'll see them soon. So we can't have that selfishness to hold them with us. And again, just try and develop that happiness in those really tough moments. And then it also provides another example in which it says, you have a friend whose circumstances result in a painful existence, but they're physically close to you. So maybe they're your neighbor and you see them every day, but they have a really painful existence due to a medical condition or something. Thus, your friend's health or interest requires a change to another country where he or she will live better, but you won't be physically next to them anymore. They won't be your neighbor because now they're moving to a different country. But wouldn't you be happy for that? Even though you lost that physical connection, wouldn't you be happy for that friend who is now living a better life in that other country, getting the support and help that they need? And again, that is the same way as losing a loved one, right? It's tough. It's tough to lose that person that we have close to us, that we have right next to us. But if we know that that is what's best for them, and we have to be happy and we can be happy that that is what's best for them, and they are um, living a better life now than that physical pain that they might have been going through. So again, we it's a very sad time and it's hard to see the happiness, but we can be happy that that person is doing well, that that person is having a better time, and again, we will be reconnected. And then the spirits book goes into deceptions, ingratitudes, and shattered affections. Nature has given human beings the need to love and to be loved. One of the greatest joys given to them on earth is meeting like minded hearts. So, one of the greatest things we have is to meet people that are like us and that we love, that they love us. And that's one of the greatest things, right? When you find those close friends that that you really connect with, that you really you give love and they give love right back. But as you can see in the title, right, sometimes there are deceptions and it's not um true connections, and we have to be weary of that because that is not only making maybe the other person unhappy but also ourselves. Deceptions. Do not allow your gestures and words to be mechanical, standardized, and cold. Let yourself smile with true joy. Embrace with satisfaction. Shake someone's hand sincerely and say light and pleasant words. So let's not point our fingers at other people, right? Let's not say, oh, this person deceived me. No, what about us? What have we done maybe to deceive someone else? Maybe we're pretending to be someone's friend, but then we turn around and we talk so badly about them and we say all these bad things about them, and that is making us unhappy. That is bringing negative energy to us. And maybe that person doesn't know, but when they find out, they're also going to feel that negative energy. Or maybe they can feel that negative energy even without finding out. They can feel some disconnect. So, again, let's not point at other people doing that because I'm sure we've all had an instance where we have done that as well. So, here it's saying quite the opposite, right? Just be sincere, be real. And if, okay, maybe if that person you aren't like, we like to find like minded hearts, like minded people. But maybe if that person isn't so like minded as us, it's okay to not be best friends with them. We can just be acquaintances. We can be kind. We can, again, smile. We can wave. But we don't have to be best friends with them. That doesn't mean like we don't have to be best friends with everyone. But don't be deceitful. Don't pretend to be best friends with someone and then just go behind and talk badly. And even if you're not friends with them, don't go behind and talk badly. Just smile and wave, and then you can move on with your day, and that's it. So watch what we're doing. Right? Don't be mechanical, standard, cold. Have that light and positivity within you, and that will spread and that will make you happy because when you're talking bad about someone else, you're really making yourself unhappy. You're trying to you're almost trying to put that negativity onto the other person, but the one that's holding onto the negativity is you. So doing the opposite, having light and positive words, will make us much happier. Coexistence. In your coexistence with your brothers of the world, rejoice in the joy of others. Look for good examples to congratulate yourself too. Remember that only positive examples should serve as an example for us. So, when we're coexisting with others, and I think this is something we all struggle with a lot, rejoice in the joy of others. When something good happens to someone else, don't be jealous, don't be envious, don't um, wish they didn't get that. Be happy for them, right? See that as a great accomplishment and share that joy with them. If someone else gets that job, share that joy with them. Your friend gets an accomplishment, it's okay, right? That our goals might not be the same as their goals, or we might not be at the same place as that other person. But we can still share their joy, and it'll make us feel so much better than if we're being negative and saying, oh, I wish I had that, I wish I had that, and just being jealous and selfish and envious. We don't want that because that's making us unhappy. So to make us happy, right, celebrate with those other people. And when we have a good moment, let's celebrate as well, right? When we have that good accomplishment, we can celebrate that, and hopefully others will celebrate that joy with us. And the end is really important. Look for positive examples and follow those examples. So not everyone is an example that we should follow, right? Maybe we do see someone that is feeling someone got the new job and now someone else is really upset. So then they came to talk to us. So we could agree with them, then also be in that negativity and be upset and be jealous. Or we can realize, no, that person, that's great for that person. Let me be happy with that person. So we choose, right, which examples we're following, what path we're going. So choose those positive examples, choose those good things to follow. And then the Spirit's book goes into antipathetic relationships. There are two kinds of affection, that of the body and that of the soul, and they are often mistaken for one another. The affection of the soul, when pure and sympathetic, is lasting, while that of the body is ephemeral. So, this is something that we commonly see, right? It's almost like don't judge a book by its cover. But when it comes to people, we often judge them by their cover, right? By the appearance. So if someone has red hair and you only like them because they have red hair, what about when they get older and they have gray hair? Then it's gone. Then that was your only connection. That was the only reason you like that person. And then that's gone. But that was a physical attribute. But if you truly have a connection with that person, if you're truly connecting, like they're saying here, in the soul level, that's going to be pure and sympathetic, and that is going to last a long time. While the affection of just physical aspects is not going to last long. It's going to be very short lived because those physical qualities are constantly changing and they can constantly change. So we want to make sure we're connecting with people not by what they look like, but who they are inside, right? Their soul, what their beliefs are. Like we were saying, like-minded hearts, right? What is their heart saying to you? And and connecting with people that way. And that's where we'll find true happiness, because connections that are purely based on physical and material things are not going to bring us happiness, are not going to bring us that true happiness. And then going into this example, when a friend enters our home, we put a smile on our face. The conversation ends and then the friend has to leave, so they go home. So now we're just home with our family. And as if by a miracle, all the smiles go away. So together with the friend, we're super smiley and happy. But now with our family, now we're unfriendly and we're demanding and we're yelling and getting into fights. Wouldn't it be better for everyone's sake if we treated our family as we treated our friends? And while people may think, oh, but I didn't choose my family, I chose my friends, right? So my friends are those like minded hearts. I chose to be with them. And that is why we get along so well. Well, we did choose our families. In the spirit world, when we wanted to reincarnate, we chose, or sometimes we might not have much of a choice, but we often have a choice or a say in the family that we are reincarnating into. So we did have a choice in that family. And we chose to be with those people. And it might get hard, right? Because we're constantly living with those people, or we're showing our happiness to all the outside people. So then when we get home, we're tired of that of faking that happiness. So we need to start truly feeling that happiness, because when we're faking it outside and we're faking it with other people, when we get inside, we just stop faking it. But if we're truly happy, that will carry out in all aspects of our lives. So if we're happy outside with our friends and outside in school and outside at our job, when we go home, we'll also be happy. Think about when you're having a really good day. You come home and you're also having a really good day with your family and whoever it is. When you have a bad day with your colleagues at work, you smile and you nod and you pretend you're having a good day, even if you're not. But the minute you get home, you have a completely horrible day with your family. So we need to try and achieve that true happiness so that it is carrying out throughout our whole day. And again, it's okay. We're going to have moments that we're not going to be happy because we're not perfect and we're on earth. But as much as possible, we can develop that that joy and that happiness. Even if we're not feeling happy, we can try and pull it out, right? Listen to our favorite song, do something that brings out that happiness. The next thing they mentioned is fear of death. So, death should not instill fear in virtuous persons, because with faith, they have certainty of a future life. Hope leads them to expect a better life than the present one, and charity, which has guided their actions, gives them an assurance that they will not encounter anyone that they may have reason to dread in the spirit world. So, along with losing loved ones, there's also the fear of death. So, the fear of us dying. But again, we have to turn to Spiritism and know that we're going to keep going. And so, let's do the most that we can right now, because at the end of this life, right, when that death time does come, where do we stand? What have we done? Do we have that good conscience? Do we have hope that, oh yeah, I did a lot of stuff. I think I really improved. I think I'm going to go on to better things. We don't want to get to that moment of death and be like, oh, I did a lot of bad things in my life. Now what's going to happen? So we don't want to leave it to that moment. And we also don't want to make these enemies that we have to fear going into the spirit world. Oh, I'm going to meet that person that I did this bad thing to. So do the best that we can now, right? Achieve that relative happiness now, because in the after death, then we'll have that happiness as well. Carnal minded people are more attracted to physical life than to spiritual life, only know material pains and pleasures. For such individuals, the thought of death is terrifying because the doubt of the future, because of doubts about the future, and because they have to leave all their feelings and hopes behind when they leave Earth. So, people who are only focusing on material things, death is going to be scary to them because they've only known the material world. And when we go into the spirit world, there's not going to be any of that material stuff. So then what, right? Their whole life has amounted on these physical material things. And then in the spirit world, none of that's going to be there. So they will feel scared and hopeless. But on the contrary, if we're spiritually minded people who have raised themselves above the artificial wants created by the passions, will experience a joy that is unknown to the carnally minded, even in this lower life. The moderation of their desires calm their spirits and give them serenity. So again, even though we're not going to face that perfect happiness, we're not going to get to that perfect happiness on earth, being spiritually minded will be a step above those physically minded people, because when death comes, again, we'll be at that peace. We'll have that peace in mind that, oh, I've done these things. I'm going to move on and do more things after this corporeal incarnation. So being more spiritually minded and focusing on that, and that's what Spiritism brings to us, so that we can think more in that spiritual minded aspect instead of just thinking about materialistic things. And lastly, in the Spirits book in this section is the distaste for life. When people use their abilities in the pursuit of some useful aim that is in line with their natural aptitudes, their work is not dull. So, going back to that natural aptitude, doing the things that you like to do. If you're doing those things that you like to do, then you'll be happy and you'll enjoy life. But if you choose, right, maybe for money reasons or just to go with what society wants you to do, if you are choosing those um, those things that are making you unhappy, then you're going to choose that career, and then you won't be happy in that, and then you won't enjoy working, and then you won't enjoy life, because working is a big part of your life, right? It's a long part of your day. So we have to do those things that we enjoy, right? We know that within those we need restrictions, because we need to, like we said, we have necessities, and money is one of our necessities to be able to buy food and our shelter and our clothing. So we do need to have, some sort of income, and we know that. But pick something that will give that income that is bringing us joy as well. And maybe if we have to be in a job, in a role that we don't necessarily love, this isn't our desired thing, but maybe that's what gets those necessities, then that can bring us happiness, right? I'm having this job and now I can have these necessities, the necessities that I need to survive. So Even if it is a job that, okay, we might not love this, what is good about it? What good is coming out of it? And think about it that way, because when we're doing things that we enjoy or that are producing things that we enjoy and the necessities that we need, then we will not have this distaste for life. We will enjoy life. Live each moment. There are things that only happen with a certain time and with the necessary experience. Do not try to anticipate everything, as this generates anxiety, which brings unhappiness. Live each moment as if it were the last and simultaneously the first. And I think that last sentence really is really important, because we often say, live this moment like it's the last. But it's also the beginning, right? So live it like it's the last, right? If this is the last moment that you have, take that opportunity, take those chances, do what comes your way. If that's what you want to do, right? Take that opportunity and seize that moment. But also realize that this is also like the first day, right? So now I seize this moment, and now what am I going to do? I'm going to seize this opportunity and go so much further with it. So I also think it's really important to think of it as the beginning, right? Think of it as it's our last moment, but also our first moment. Right now, what are we going to do with all these opportunities? And think about it that way as well. And as it mentions here, don't try to anticipate everything, because life isn't going to go as planned. And I think we all know that with COVID. I was going to have my college graduation. There was so many last events that I wanted to go to at my university. I even thought, okay, I wanted to go in this career path, and now here I am a couple months later, and all that's changed. I graduated in my living room, and everything that was anticipated didn't happen. So don't we can set goals, but realize that it's okay if these goals get if things get changed along the way, if we want to change them along the way. Be agile, be flexible. So it's okay to have these goals, to have these schedules, but realize that things might not always happen the way we want them to, and we've seen that, we've all experienced that. Being optimistic. The human being was made equally for joy and sadness, and someone from time to time does not feel sadness, with or without a concrete reason, will certainly be almost as ill and disconnected from reality as the one who has never, almost never, or almost never can be happy. To be optimistic, it is to feed the genuine feeling that life is worthwhile despite the difficulties. So again, we are going to face difficulties. We are not going to be happy all the time, because that's not natural. It's not natural. Like they're saying here, if you're always happy and you never feel sadness, that's not natural, right? You probably have some sort of illness, because that isn't natural to always be happy. So we're going to have difficult times, but enjoy life, right? No, okay, difficulties are going to come, but I'm still enjoying life, and we can get through these difficulties. And that's what's important to remember. And so I just wanted to leave some kind of activities that we can do to boost our mood. And these are going to be different for all people, but something that I especially like to do is to organize. There is a common saying that to be successful, the first thing you have to do is make your bed. If you make your bed every day, even if the day goes terribly wrong, you accomplish one thing: you made your bed. So that's one good thing. That's one thing that can make you happy. Okay, I accomplished this one thing. I made my bed. Some other things that people might enjoy and that might bring happiness, and that will bring happiness, but it's kind of you finding what your preference is. Supporting others, being there for other people. Being creative, paints, writes, whatever it may be. Listen to music, to lectures, to positive messages. Sing. How many people don't feel really happy when they sing in the shower and sing in their car when no one else is listening? Bond with animals. Animals are a great way. And if you don't have an animal, you can volunteer and volunteer at an animal shelter and work with those animals. Volunteering is a great way to not only help others, but to also learn ourselves about the community and things that are happening around us. Exercise can make us stimulate our minds and make us happy. Socialize. Of course, right now we can't socialize physically, but We can do Zoom calls, we can watch lives, we can call our friends, we can write letters and socialize that way. And reading, and there's so many spiritist books out there to read, to learn, and to get all this information to make us happier. And so finally, I just wanted to leave off with one message. Men, poor travelers who painfully tread the painful rise of existence, know that everywhere on our path, invisible, powerful, and good beings walk beside us. Open your soul to them and put your thoughts according to yours, and you will soon feel the joy of their presence. Mild consolations will descend for you. So I hope you can all take something from this lecture to help improve your happiness and try and get that happiness into your daily life. And I really appreciate you all for tuning in, and hopefully you're staying safe with COVID and as well as this hurricane, and hopefully power and internet is restored soon for all those who still don't have it. So with that, I would like to end off with the final prayer for today. So if we could all close our eyes and elevate our minds to thank the spirits who help guide us through these difficult moments that we have, and who can give us advice for how to develop our happiness and work on our happiness. And so that we can know that our happiness comes from within ourselves. Please let us be able to take away something that will help inspire this happiness within ourselves and help us to develop this happiness. And so be it. Thank you all again for being here and participating today.
Okay, thank you, Bia, very much for this lecture. It was beautiful. I really like the way you put this in a very practical, possible way to take steps to achieve the happiness. We definitely need to listen this and more. And I invite everyone who if you want to watch it again and make the list of everything Bia said, this video is gonna be saved in our channel, YouTube channel, and a Facebook channel, and also on Rede Amigos Espíritas channel. So Bia, thank you so much
Thank you.
for the lecture, for your good work. And for everyone, have a great day, have a great night, and be safe.
Bye.